Okay, this race here is from Zandvoort, track in the Netherlands, and here's our qualifying lap, and we'll describe the track a little bit. So this is the front straight, comes down into a hard braking, kind of long turn. Here you got a downshift probably 3 times, get down into third, maybe second. Second's probably a little bit better for a little bit coming out right there. This track has a lot of undulation, lots of kind of blind turns. It's very smooth. Not a lot of grip. Seems pretty abrasive on the tires. Um, the first lap on cold tires is a little sketchy. It's a little sliding around, but this is our qualifying lap here. So the tires are a little more warmed up. Switch views here. So we have, let's go with this view. This turn is pretty tricky right here to get right. I messed it up too many times. Drifting out wide where I had to tap the brake a little bit on exit to keep from going more wide. This is also a little bit tough to get the perfect line going in there, slow down and turn in at just the right moment. There's not a lot of braking markers around this track, you'll notice, and so being consistent with where you hit the brakes is really hard to do. Um, some of these turns you have a couple choices of line because the track is so wide, so it makes it interesting. Uh, Here we come up over this rise, and then we brake right before we get to these curbs. Is right where I like to brake. We got a chicane here. Look, I messed up that entry, carrying a little too much speed. This is bumpy on the very inside, so it's a little dangerous to go really far inside, even though it looks like it would be the fastest line. Uh, this track again, this turn again, braking, kind of diving to the inside. And then this is a really long turn that leads onto the front straightaway. And if you don't hit it just right, you're carrying too much speed on the front straightaway and you drift a little bit to the left. So trying to figure out the right line there, it's not obvious, and leads
Just
to
2
being
minutes left, 2 minutes to go.
inconsistent there. So that was a lap, and we are going to start the race. So here we go.
1 gallon remaining.
We started 14th, it looks like here. Um, give it a second for the other liveries to pop in. So we did qualifying, but still started 14th. It's a good field. I think the average iRating in the field is like 3,200, and I'm at about 1,600 or so. So yeah, I'm the 16th best out of however many entries there are in this race. It's tough competition. So we get a decent start, but so does everybody else. I mean, we got a pretty good start, but you really can't tell from the competition there. I noticed there's a gap between these cars, so I decided to go ahead and sort of under braking, just kind of softly brake and kind of get in there a little bit. Car on the inside, I think, got nervous that we were going 3 wide on turn 1 and backed out of it, sort of rightly so. Cold tires, 2x2. Everybody's trying to get everything they can get, but you got to be a little cautious at the same time. I start peeking here, and he starts blocking or slamming the door shut, however you want to call it. I didn't really have a nose in there, but still, it was. Thought that was a little bit unnecessary. If somebody gets a run, like they're there, but he slammed the door. So that's fine. Just something to put in the memory bank for a little later if the situation is reversed. Somebody spun it there, but nobody really flinched and nobody really lifted. We all just carried on and kept going there. So I want to keep a good entry to this right-hander, so I stayed kind of squeezed him to the left. And that was the one car that went spinning off there, the white car. He is very quick. That's I think his name is, I think you pronounce it Yuan Shi Lin. He is very fast everywhere we go. I think he struggles a little bit on this track, but he's still incredibly quick. So now we're in that long straightaway. You can draft down this long straightaway, but most people don't mess up the exit of the previous turn, so you're not really gaining a whole lot. And then you come into this hard braking zone. Whoops. So it's not. You can go side by side, but it's a little bit dangerous because you don't know what the guy in front of you is going to do. If he goes wide, you can kind of duck underneath, but you're kind of committed. Uh, so it's not as great of a passing zone as it looks like, as it looks like it should be. Change cameras here for a minute. So everybody's getting a little bit spaced out. Probably about 0.8 of a second between each car. Ran a little wide. So that 11 car on my tail, he's hustling definitely. Um, Making himself known in my mirrors, diving inside, outside, around. I'm just trying to stick to my racing line and hit my braking markers and really not pay too much attention. I took a bit of defensive line there because I knew I didn't get a great exit. He's probably a little bit quicker. And here, this is leading back onto the front straight, using all the track. And he looks like he's going to have a look at making a move there, and then things better of it. They call that send in the dummy, where they act like they're going to dive in under braking and then don't do it, hoping that you'll outbrake yourself or flinch or make a mistake. Didn't work that time. I just don't think, I didn't think he was going to go for it, diving it up there. It's a pretty sketchy turn to try to dive bomb into. So you're sort of counting on everybody using their better judgment, kind of preserving their own car, especially this early in the race, because we're only on lap 3 here. Looks like he has a little bit of a run going. I took a defensive line here again, going into the chicane. I chose the defensive line early. Oh, another car spun here that we're catching up to. The 7 car. Whoop, I got a little bit in the gravel, but I don't think it cost me much. He's got trying to start to take a look, but I'm holding my line
My
down.
bad.
I don't know if we should switch cameras or not. So it's definitely pretty competitive here. It looks like with these 5 cars or so, it's like the 7 started pulling out a bit of a gap to us right there. Yeah, but then the 7 car caught somebody in front of him. So we're about to have about a 6 car train here. I ran wide on entry. Oh, but I nailed the apex. So I took a wider entry than the red and white 11 car did. And I see him driving a more inside line, but I'm sticking to the racing line. I'm not gonna, I didn't think it was close enough for me to even think about compromising my entry. This is one of the toughest turns here. under hard braking into a chicane. It's real easy to spin right there. And then there's bumps on the inside. You see the car kind of wobble left to right if you go too far inside. Switch to a different camera. It's a little bit wider angle, might be a little easier. So we're pretty evenly matched. Let's see, he gets a tighter line going through there and was able to get on the throttle a little earlier. He's carrying a tiny bit more speed down this sort of straight section. We're flat out through all this part here. In this turn here, I sometimes mess up and drift a little wide. Being able to hit that apex good in the middle there and not drift out too wide is a challenge. But I did pretty good that time. He's taking a little bit of a look in here, but it's tough to get in here because then you have to outbrake him on the inside into a right-hander. So he's making a run at it, and I see it. So I stay on the defensive line going into the next turn here, which is another long turn. So he did the crossover move. So now I'm in a defensive line for the next right-hander coming up, which is the chicane. So you just brake a little earlier when you're on the inside line. Kept it through the left-hander, kept it pretty close to the inside. You can see the tires bouncing a little bit. But I could tell from the mirror that I cleared them on the right-hander, so I knew I could take it all the way down to the paint on the left-hander. He should have a pretty good draft off this here. So here he goes, pulls up to the inside. This is his best attempt so far, I think. Drives it in there pretty good. I see it. He drifts out a little bit wide there. Probably not expecting me to still be there. And we go 3 wide for a split second there. I heard it over the radio. 3 wide. I was on the inside. I stayed on the inside, and somehow we all lived. So that was kind of fun. Let's see that again from the in-car. I don't know if there's much to see here. So he's on the inside of us here. Go gyro cam? No. Let's go cockpit cam. Okay, this is not quite the view I have. I see less. I see between these mirrors, not all the mirrors and everything else, but close enough. Oh, that's half speed. So here we go. He's there. Still right there with him. Outbraking him a little bit. Keeping control of the car. Got the 3 wide message right on the radio right about there. Held it to the inside. Got back on throttle hard. And we're clear. So that was a lot of fun. We don't normally get to go 3 wide on and so many cars close there. We got what, 7 cars in the picture. So that was a fun moment. So now I know I'm holding these guys up a little bit. But we got to make the pass. 11 did make the pass once, but didn't stick. A slightly wider view. So you can see that's a lot of cars very close together, and everybody's driving very clean. I don't see any bumping going on between any of those cars. 2x2, 3 rows back. And here's that one car, 4 cars back, the blue and white car with a little bit of red on the headlights. That's Yuan Shi Lin. Let's switch to his car, see if we notice anything different. So he gets one on the straightaway here, looks like. And I got somebody else challenging me at the inside there. At this point, I remember seeing his name on the board there behind me, and I was like, do I just let him through and try to follow him? Or keep running my race and see what happens? And so I decided to just run my race, and I knew he was going to get by no matter what. I ran a little wide off the apex there, and sure enough, he pounced. So it looks like we're still battling with the 11 there for position. Oh, and I got a little loose. I got a little loose through the chicane there. Let's take a look at the inputs here. Yeah. So we'll go chase, and we'll go half speed. On the brake, on the brake, on the brake. And then I just lose the rear end. Immediately counter steer, lift off the brake, get back on the gas gently, back on the gas hard, checking the mirrors. And I see they got the 12 on the inside here, trying to accelerate hard out of here and leave him enough room because we know we got a car on the inside. And that's what happened there. Now we don't have a great line coming into here. We better have a wider entry, but so 11 finally got by us, and now he's kind of snaking around a little bit on the straightaway. As the cars in front of him were kind of snaking around, and so I was following their draft. That was the movement, and then looks like a couple cars decided to try to outbrake us there a bit, and oh, one's about to make a pretty good exit. But I'm not going down without a fight here. And I lifted for a split second there because I thought he might close that door, and sure enough he did. So I'm happy I chose to lift going through that last left-hander because that would have been disastrous. And again, we're drifter wide through there. I'm just not getting my entry correct. And again, it cost me. The car pulling up to my inside. Just losing time through that turn. But decided to go back on it. Try to get that position back. Didn't quite work. Again, taking a look. I realized there that I was not going to make that turn. I was carrying too much speed. So I was just trying to slow down in a straight line, get the car slowed down as much as possible, and hopefully not hit that 14 in front of me. And Luckily that worked out. I didn't collide, kept the car on the track, but it was very close. So now we are on lap 8 of 14. We're sitting in 13th, 14th position. And car makes a dive to the inside. Again, we try to battle back. And it worked. So there, that time I got a little bit better. Closer to that inside curb. I can clip that curb a little more. So this is a tough field. 3,200 average. These guys are good. I've just been moving backwards, it feels like the whole race. Got a little wide. So let's see if we can point out anything interesting here. So we're braking at about, we've got about 80% pressure on our braking there. Completely off the gas almost. Looks like I just had my foot resting on the throttle still. Getting off the braking, back on the throttle. Touch the brake again, touch the gas again. I think we'd probably downshift to second right about here. There's no gear indicator in this thing. And then right about here, be shifting to third. Hard on the throttle. Braking hard again for a second. Right to the inside curb. Back of the gas hard. Braking hard again. And then trying to hit the apex right about there. Touching the inside curve is kind of where we'd like to be. Getting back on the throttle hard to carry all that speed down this sort of, I don't know what you call this, like a back straightaway sort of. Over this hill, still full throttle, braking hard, kind of double apex here, right down to the curb, using all the track. And then right out here, braking hard, trying to clip the inside curb here, missed it a little bit. And then just sort of picking a point here where you think is the right point to turn in. There's not a lot of visual indication of where the braking point is. Same thing here, just kind of by memory about where and how much to get on the brakes. Get back on the throttle early, hopefully. We could have gone on earlier because we had track left on the right. Here, as soon as we almost get to these red curbs on the left, we're going to brake right there. Brake hard in a straight line, pretty much. Get back off the brakes, stay right about here on top of these curbs. Back on the throttle hard. Move to the left again. Again, just pick a random braking point here. This guy. So let's look at that a little more carefully. So we're coming up on this. And our view is basically this. I forgot how to change the. Oh, we can change it here. Graphics. 79, close enough. So let's see what happens here. All right. So back up again. Sorry. So I see at this point, I see him start to spin right as it starts to happen. I see that he's sideways. His angle is not what I would expect to see, especially you can see the car next to him. He's not at the right angle, so we know there's going to be an issue here. So we're paying attention. Still a fast turn. We still have a car right on our butt. So I'm trying to see which way is he going to go. Is he going to go off the track left or off the track right? What is going to happen? So at real-time speed, you got about this much time to figure it out. So it looked like he was going to go off the track left, but then he sort of corrected, caught it, and moved right back down onto the racing line. So I was gonna go right, but now right is closing up very quickly. And I was back on the throttle hard because I thought I was gonna be able to squeak by on the right. Uh, so now I got to get back off the throttle. You can see I'm back on the brake like 80% because I realize we are going to make impact. So not sure how I could have done that better. There's not a whole lot of time to react. But because the track is banked and because he caught it and didn't hold the brake, if he would have held the brake, he would have drifted out. That's good. Slow motion. This is half speed. So if he had held the brake, he would have kept sliding out, but he left it off the brake, which helped him straighten out the car. But now he's basically blocking the whole track because he's coming down from the outside towards the inside slowly. So now we got to turn this thing around. It's not real easy. Not a whole lot of track to use. So, it sounds different now. So now we got a little bit of damage, but I don't know how much. From this angle, we can tell it's not much, but driving the car, I wasn't sure. And so I wasn't sure if I should head in the pits right on that lap, right after that happened. I decided not to, hoping maybe the car didn't have that much damage. And it feels like it's driving okay. Like I can't really notice much of it pulling to one side, or nothing obvious is messed up. So I'm just going to get right back into it. And the car that spun in front of us is right in front of us. So I think that'll be the interesting thing to watch. Switch camera views. So, two guys in front of us are battling for position quite a bit here. Let's stay with this. So they seem to be dicing around quite a lot. So at this point, we just crossed the line, and so this is lap 12 of 14. And we are sitting in 16th position right now, car number 16 sitting in 16th. And I'm thinking these guys in front of us are probably going to wreck here. So what I see here is they're very close. They keep taking opposite lines. They're trying to. which I'm fine with this. Oh, got sort of a half spin and caught it. The damage on the back of the car is where we hit right after this turn right here. Definitely ran wide, so now I definitely think I could get a run on him coming down the straightaway because that had to slow him down a little bit. And I went ahead and went to the outside, even though it could be dangerous a little sometimes because it could try to squeeze you, but it would be pretty obvious that he was blocking at that point. So he thought better of it. Now we've got to be careful. You know, he might bonsai up the inside. So he's right on our butts here. Let's find a better camera angle. Sometimes some of the hardest racing is at the back of the pack. People really clawing tooth and nail for position. All the way up on the inside curb.
The track temperature is increasing. It's now 77 Fahrenheit.
That was a strange move. They just try to dart around in the mirrors or something. And again, I ran wide going through there. I missed the apex. He gets a great run, capitalizes, and I'm trying to battle right back. We're all taking very different lines.
Good race there, Michael.
Looks like the leaders are already finishing right now. Yeah, this is the last lap. We got half a lap to go to finish the race
Good
here.
race, guys. Good race.
So the car in front of me took a very defensive line, kind of, right through there. And we didn't. We stayed on the racing line and dove it in there. So let's back up. Let's see how that looked from the in-car. All right. Let me look at it from the gyro cam. Okay. So he's on the inside for some reason. The normal racing line is over here where this whatever number car that is. This side of the track is where you want to be because we're coming up to a chicane with a right first and then a left. So this is a very odd position for your car. Um, not quite sure what he's doing there. Maybe he's trying to, just play with our heads, or he knows he's going to run a super defensive line into there. Not quite sure what he's thinking. So let's go half speed. That's a weird bouncing of the head. So I stay on the racing line.
Hey, good race, guys.
I'm going to brake right before this red and white curb on the left.
Good race.
Watching what he's doing here, I got to give him a little bit of space. Back off the brake. And then I know he's to my outside, so I just stick it right down on the very inside. I'm almost off the track. Uh, Left side's up on that inside curbing and hard on the throttle as early as I can. But I still got to leave him space on the outside because I know he's there. So that's. I was happy with that move. I felt like trying to be tricky with this, running a really defensive line really early there. And there it was at full speed.
Good race.
So now we're going side by side into the turn where we ran each other before, and I lose the rear end. I just was on the brakes too late, carrying a little too much speed. So threw that away.
Third in for that hunt. Fuck up both the races.
And that's that. So results wise, not great. I think we looks like we started 15th and finished 16th. But it was fun. We're running near cars the whole time. That was that one.